just, like, ran away. Whatever. No family should suffer from a tragedy ever again. We've had enough of that. Well, I am known to be a straightforward person. Let me get to the point without wasting your valuable time. As during the Alfonso campaign, blah, 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 blah. Look at Marcel. He pointed his finger at me. You said we will transform this nation, Mr. Rayne. My conglomerate has a way of doing things, and I don't want them to change, so I want to cooperate with you. The intent is mutual. You matter the people's support now, Mr. President. What happens when you make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What's that supposed to mean? Let's hear his point, Vice President. Being a president of this country means having many enemies. Enemies that would resort to anything to bring you down. Let's just say these enemies caused a scandal or leaked sensitive information from the administration. These would be very destructive when they were released, if they were released. I see what you're getting at. You knew that a long time before you came here. What do you want in return? I want two things, Mr. President. Number one is a guarantee from you that the Rayne administration won't meddle in HOS affairs no matter what happens. Number two is a simple gentleman's favor for the future. Let me prove my services to you first. I'm sure you won't disapprove when the time comes. How do I know I can trust you? My circle advised against it. They don't even know we were meeting, Mr. President. We put ourselves at risk, but I'm willing to trust you. The question is, are you willing to trust me and accept this deal? How do you feel about this solution? I think it's a good deal. He is right. We need the media support with the newspapers and channels side by side. We could dodge a lot of bullets. Yeah, especially, like, given the fact that we want to be so dictatorial, it's definitely good that we do this. We have a deal. Cool. All right. We did it. So we got that. The railway's underway. We got 2 points in the government budget, which is pretty good. When we choose this company, we're going to have to spend an additional point. Our personal wealth is insane right now. Like, we're doing pretty good. Read the local report. All right. We got to choose who's got the contract. Gus arrived earlier. Blah, blah, blah. He's showing up. Appreciate you taking up my offer on the stock investment. Armadine's a very promising corporation. If everything goes well, you make solid returns. Thank you. Da-da-da. Gus Manger. We need to make sure that he is with us. Hyman Hold joined us after settling down and move on to discuss the details. Came in with the train yesterday and was a little uncomfortable. These guys kind of look like they could be brothers. Maybe it's just because they're, like, looking the same way. But, like, this guy's side eye is, like... I don't know. They all kind of look like Archer characters. Like, I'm sure that's, like, intentional, you know. Interesting, though. Came with the train yesterday. I was a little uncomfortable. Besides starting economic recovery, the change journey will be much more pleasant, Mr. President. This is given now. The project will improve so many things ranging from justice growth. You made the right choice for sure. I trust your economic plans, Simon. I'm glad to hear that. We should be able to slow down the recession if we finish this project successfully. I'm sure we will. According to your document, many citizens are blah, 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 blah. What will it take to stop the recession? Do you need additional support? Not as right now. However, things might come up if the project doesn't go according to plan. I agree with Simon. Additional financial or political support might be necessary if certain parties or issues block us, which happens if you choose the state one. But what we're going to do is underhaul construction. Tell me about underhaul. The real estate and construction giant was founded in 1925. So this is the one that we've been bribed to accept. So I think we gotta go for this one. This corporation will go against our planned economy policy. The CEO of underhaul is Krishkar, the mayor of Conriat. He sold half his shares a few years ago, but seemed very eager on the L1 bid. Yeah. Okay. It's like they've worked on stuff before. They have a good track record. I've settled on them. Boom. Take the hit. Very glad you made this choice. I can tell from my experience you will be very satisfied with this company. This company will notify today, and the construction work will begin immediately after. I think we are off to a great start. My expectation for the grand opening ceremony late next year. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you. This concludes the meeting. Okay. So, we got 2 personal wealth, but our budget is down, which is not great. Though I think this will get in closer. We got a media bias. That's good. We need to get rid of that. Oh, these guys should be happy about that. Yeah, they get number 1 before rumors of infrastructure project. Construction begins for Expo Railway. It seems like these 2 guys do not have their shit together. Rumors, construction begins. They're just, like, not quite on the same page. That's fine. Ooh, interesting. We're already going to be down to 0 government budget. I don't like it that much. Um... Hmm. So, this will help us with the people. This will help us with the businesses, which is going to give us economic boost in the meantime. I think we're going to go businesses. We seem to be sort of more right-wing oriented in our authoritarian. We're not really authoritarian left. We're authoritarian right. We've bailed out the businesses, slightly stabilized the downward employment side. We probably should have given the people some stuff. We're definitely going to get roasted for this. Yep. But these guys are going to love it. So that's fine. It'll change. Everyone hates shit. Okay, well, we're going to go to this guy's funeral here, and we're going to read some shit out loud. We are going to attend, which I think is a good move. We need to show support. We need to get people... This is a scary number to be looking at right now. There's no way we can be in negative budget. If we go anywhere but a -4, we get into a debt crisis, which we are approaching right now. So the budget is going to need to give us actually a lot of room. So we're going to increase the military, and we're going to increase the police, but we're going to decrease education, and I think we're also just going to have to decrease health spending. As unfortunate as it is, we need to consolidate our power. Few people can die. Yeah, okay, so we're just kind of here. I want to inform you that the perimeter is clear and secured completely. There's no one getting in or out without our knowledge. We don't want something similar happening again. Good work, thank you. Let's have the head of police be happy with us. About his head with respect. Good, if anything happens to Anton, you'll have to answer the First Lady. Trust me, Carl, you don't want that. Peter let out a laugh. Peter, you're being inconsiderate. This fucking guy. A small problem, sir. A few, 5 to be exact, Red Youth members are here to prevent the funeral. They apparently said they wish to pay their respects to the fallen comrade. Do you think they pose a security threat? No, they were thoroughly searched. Looked like they were here to attend the funeral. Let them in. Sure. As you command. Let's get it over with. They are here to start. We walked towards the crowd, circled around the grave. Everyone in attendance was wearing black and mourning. The rain started pouring heavily. I just imagine we show up, like, in this fucking suit, just, like, chilling. Or smoking, like, the pipe. Both their eyes were red and swollen, so the wife and kids are crying. Before taking my place to observe the ceremony, I gave my condolences to Bernard's wife and his daughter, who looked at me. She reminded me of Deanna. The minute the ceremony was done, I was invited by the priest to deliver my speech. Took the podium. Felt like I had a lump in my throat. Couldn't get the daughter's eyes out of my head. Today we are mourning Bernard Sirkas, a father, a husband, and a loyal servant of this country. Towards the back of the crowd, I spotted the members of the Red Youth wearing red shirts and black bands of mourning on their arms. They seemed ruly and were respectfully bowing their heads. There was complete silence except for the sound of race drops. I will confess that That's not good. Regardless of his ideology, this is a heinous act made towards a good man. We must end this cycle of violence. I interpret this attack against Sordland, by extension against me. Circus had a dream of unified Sordland. We will make sure that these unfortunate... He had a dream of unified Sordland. Let us all mourn the passing and remember him well, but hatred begets hatred. We must unite against the evil of this world. The tears the family left behind have left a price to receive. I will not stop until it is paid in full. Let us mourn the passing of Bernard Circus and remember him well. I would now like to recite one of the poems that he reads us. Our only strength is the will to survive, knowing that we will perish, knowing nothing. We rise towards the sun. Those who died, died fighting. They are now buried in the sun. No need to mourn. They do not let us sing our songs. They are afraid of the dawn. They are afraid of hope, but our songs will be sung. So we'll do that one. A moment of silence, please. Everyone replied, Vector and Sista. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure, actually. I kind of did that quickly, but should have maybe did a little quicker. Little thank you to the soft and defeated voice before we dispersed. On my way back to the car, I still couldn't get the eyes of Bernard's daughter, nor the faltering voice of his wife out of my head. Would Deanna, Monica, and Frank look the same way if something happened to me? Peter put his hand on his shoulder. It's a good speech. I sent only respect from his voice. Thank you. I mean it. I know you do. Come on, it's time to go. We've got work to do. So much more to do. I realized the rain had stopped. I looked up. The black clouds slowly dispersed and sunbeams enlightened our surroundings. As someone once said, even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Hope was on the horizon. Hope for me to consolidate all the power. Alright. I think that went well. What are people going to say? Yeah. Cool. Alright. Briefing on the current diplomatic situation. Oh, this guy. Gives a shit about this guy. Of course, it's a pleasure to see you. We still need to make sure that people know that the Eggman is fully in charge. He slowly sat down, taking care not to aggravate the arthritis in his knees. He'd always had an air of gravitas around him, and old age only served to deepen that. He settled himself, he regarded me with delight, his blue eyes sparkling. Look at you, Anton, the 4th president of Sordland. What a privilege for me. I still remember the first day you took my class at the Holstered State University. Somehow the inexplicable ebb and flow of life has led us here, to positions where we can change the course of history. This is our opportunity to shape the future, and we will do precisely that. I'm looking forward to our new foreign policy. He started coughing again, this time for longer. Would you like some tea or water? Oh, yes, please. Tea and water sounds nice. Thank you very much. He smiled. Livia brought 2 cups of tea along with a glass of water and placed them on the table. It seems you still remember how much I like tea. Nowadays, it really does wonders to my throat. Has your niece Marguerite started going to the kindergarten yet? Yes, she has. Spending time with Margie makes me happy. There's still much ahead of her life. I sometimes with Catherine and I had children, but that ship sailed a long time ago. How is the Rayne family? Monica has really taken the first lady role. Frank never liked the spotlight, hasn't changed. We were slowly starting to get used. Yeah, she's really taken the first lady role. As time passed, I realized it more. Family is the most important thing in life. We must take care of them. Ha 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 ha. The Eggman does not agree. The door opened. Yosef and Lucien joined us for the briefing as a tall case clock hit the hour mark. Peter, however, was missing. I wonder if he was late from all the drinking he did at the party in Lechaven. What party? Why are we getting... Hold on. Hold on a minute. Peter's not here. This guy's here. I understand this guy's not partying. This dude's, like, averse to partying. But why aren't we getting... We should be getting invited to all these parties. This is crazy. What the hell? We're not getting invited to these parties, man? This is terrible. How was your time to your travel to Lechaven? A little bumpy due to some turbulence. I arrived via military cargo plane that landed at Lechaven International. Took the train. It was a little slow, but I still recommend it for the beautiful landscape. I also had the possibility to work on a couple of things during the ride. From what I've heard, it'll be much faster in the near future when the L1 high-speed railway is finished. Exactly. It will hopefully be one of our major achievements. Well then, since Mr. Vector doesn't seem to be coming today, I think we're ready to start. I will start by providing a brief overview of our current status with our neighbors. What would you like to start with? Let's hear about Agnolia. So those are the boys up at the top. Yeah. Our brotherly nation to the northeast. They are still diplomatically non-aligned and probably has one of the most democratic systems between our neighbors. Economic stagnation is a worry for them. Their primary issue is their heavy reliance on foreign investment from us. Agnolia is our most friendly neighbor. We've been allies for the longest time after Romeburg annexed Dome. This fact needs to be part of the equation. Unsurprisingly, Agnolian Prime Minister Martin van Horten is expecting better cooperation through a new, fairer trade deal with us. It was one of his election mandates. We'll think about his request. Matters still on the table. A more comprehensive trade deal sounds beneficial to all sides. We should maintain the existing agreement. We can't lose our advantage. That would be the most pragmatic choice. Our export tariffs to Agnolia are incredibly low under the current agreement. Additionally, the latest numbers indicate that currently 1 million Agno-Sordish citizens living in the Anglan legions of Sordland. So that's like right up at the border. Creates a link between foreign policy and our international affairs. These people have suffered socioeconomically, which led them to crime and other problems. In addition, a relaxed immigration policy was one of Agnolia's main requests, which is unacceptable. Most of the migrants in our country haven't even assimilated to Sordish culture. Adding more won't help. I am skeptical about relaxed immigration. You should be. We've already witnessed several society shifting ways of migration. We should remember that we promised to tighten our immigration laws in the election campaign. I want to know about Vagsland. Our cousins of old across the Marquian Sea wish to have good relations with us. As we know, Vagsland is a socialist republic line with the United Quintana. They're an important regional player. So basically aligned with the Russian boys. It is also the most significant sea power in eastern Mercopa. We have had hostile relations with them after several wars in the 19th century, which we wouldn't want to experience again. Recently, the relationship has warmed up thanks to Emmerich Hegel. Hell yeah. As a result, diplomatic talks can be conducted in the future. It is not easy to forget the Great Fire of Conriat. Thousands of lives were lost that day. Holding grudges about the past wouldn't be a logical strategy if we are focusing on the pragmatic foreign policy. They haven't been in good relations with us for the past 200 years. Recently, they have also joined the communist Kontanan Security Pact, subjugating themselves to United Quintana. On top of that, territorial issues flare up between Agnolia and Vagsland because of the Helgeland Island. The Sordish Navy is very concerned with this volatile situation. Lucian looked worried. Unfortunately, billions of Sordish Ren worth of cargo is transported close to Volgslandian, I think? I'm not sure. Maritime borders on the Marquian Sea and the Grey Strait. This causes significant risk to our imports and exports in the case of a deterioration in relations. This trade is of high strategic value to us. Joseph, the Navy is keeping an eye on the situation from a distance, right? We are actively monitoring the sea routes and cargo ships. For now, there is no immediate threat, but we don't know what can happen in the future. What's the latest situation in Welland? Tumultuous in the south as always. Victor Smolak is expanding his powers among This guy's like a North Korean type. Like, very... He's got like statues of himself built everywhere. The streets are like empty. Reports indicate they have been warming up to the contained international aid. As you know, Welland's stability was always a concern for the region. But if we want to help them, we must not treat refugees like we did in the 30s. I can't stomach the inhumanity of those people suffered. A trade agreement then would improve stability and increase mutual trade. While such a certainly paid enough by housing millions of refugees in the well of the Civil War. No more! While we had our Civil War, they were there for us. That is how refugee rights work internationally. Our main goal should be to avoid a refugee crisis like the late 1920s. Yeah, that's a good point. However, we don't care. We don't want people coming in. The great thing about Eggman is that he just does his own shit. One of the demands of President Smolak was to tighten our immigration laws. The political refugees don't escape to Sordland. There has been a recent purge that pushed many Blutish to flee to Bergia. It is definitely troubling. Government outpost has regained its importance due to this. I'm sure you remember that winter at the border outpost, Mr. President. He was right to remember that winter. I remember the despair in the refugees' eyes when we forcefully escorted them back to the Welland border. It is our national interest to prevent the formation of a failed state in our western border. Welland has been increasingly aligning itself towards the Communist Alliance. Another point to analyze. So, if you don't turn them in, he gets like really cranky right here. And there's like a big confrontation that happens. But because we chose to follow our orders, that's not happening. So, that's cool. I would like to take just a quick second to remind you that I disagree with this playthrough entirely. Like, refugee rights and all that shit, very important. And last time I played, I was, like, trying to go through it. But there's a very tricky path to power here. And we need to focus on that. Two important neighboring countries remain, Lesbia and Rumburg, which I'd like to hear about first. Rumburg. Now the most troublesome nation, Rumburg. Constitutional monarchy led by Queen Beatrice Livingston. I highly advise caution and calculated action against Rumburg. Our military must be prepared. The threat is real. They are strong and have the motivation as well as the means to do damage to us. We shouldn't give them any reasons to pursue aggression. I'll take your advice in consideration. Rumburg will be a rogue state. You must prevent them in interfering with our affairs. Slam my fucking hand down on the table. They've shown similar behavior to their neighboring countries before we shut them down. We must be cautious. While Thornborough openly... Oh, Queen Thornborough. So it's like the only monarchy left on the continent. While Thornborough openly denies such claims, their past and current actions make it clear they want to destabilize us. Their weapons caches found by our intelligence agency clearly shows what their goals are. Our military must be steadfast and our diplomacy valiant. Joseph, the fucking massive boy, looked stern and full of resolve. The Rumburg threat is one of our top priorities, you can be assured of that. We are always in dialogue with the Rumburg ambassador to make sure a channel is open to solve disputes. We could use their aggressive attitude against them by convincing the international community. Lucian grabbed the Lashaven Times newspaper and put his finger on the article about the latest diplomatic incident. Their abrupt announcement about the closure of the Rumburg consulate in Lashaven is another step in their escalation. What about Lesbia? So down here, Lesbia. Our southern neighbor is aligning itself more and more with Arcasia. Lesbia is currently led by Prime Minister Patricio Alvarez. What's on with him? His term saw major tax concession removal of many state regulations, a general improvement of Lesbian economy. One of the biggest achievements of his term as Lesbia's membership approval in the ATO. He was elected again in 1953. They are the jewel of the continent, the second largest economy in Bacopa. Though wealthy, Lesbia suffers from excessive economic inequality. Our past relations have been great, but during the last decade, their investments to Sordland dwindled due to our instability. Allying with the richest regional nation could be beneficial. Lesbia is a sleeping giant. We should not wake them. They keep turning a blind eye towards the region, thinking that Lesbia is above it all. The lesbian mentality is influenced by a certain aura of heroism and specialism. Their moral compass is different than ours. I am certain that the recession has a lot to do with their retraction of investments. Once they see that money isn't in the picture, they vanish rather quickly because they are capitalists. They have shown a selfish attitude during the Welland Civil War by closing their borders and funneling refugees to cross into Sordland. Lucian cleared his throat. Our values are too different with Lesbia. It's hard to see eye to eye. The capitalism of Lesbia is inspirationally look at their economic power. No, it's hard to see eye to eye with them, I think. That's fair. Completely agree. Lesbia has for a long time benefited from us through old tariffs. They are after exploitation. Hundreds of very privileged oligarchs who invest inside and outside of Lesbia. Some have made significant business investments in the city of Benfi and Vargen. This covers the overview of the current situation. We'll move on to our trade choice in response to Rumburg's diplomatic escalation. The sun began to set over the hills surrounding Leshaven. The team was ready to give advice on the new trade initiative and the response to the latest diplomatic incident with Rumberg. Peter arrived late and a little rougher than usual. Must have been the drinking from last night. Again, he does not invite us to these parties. This is terrible. Hey there, folks. Excuse my delay. I'm sure I didn't miss anything we didn't already know. Amazing. You were, yeah, exactly, Yosef. You're still supposed to be part of this meeting, also on time. Punctuality is important. We are talking about serious subjects here. Peter assigned tasks for me. They don't have a point, Peter. We should have discipline in the cabinet. Excuse me, it won't happen again. Lucy and Yosef looked at Peter before David moved away from the subject. Vice President will be part of the trade delegation, so it was great to have input on the subject, but also on the Rumberg incident. There are two issues at hand. Which topic should be tackled first? We should address the diplomatic incident. We should move on to the trade negotiations. Diplomatic incident. They closed the consulate, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of reading. He blamed the lack of security in Sordland due to the assassination. Okay. Bastards. First they close our consulate, and then they blame our security. The security situation is under control. They're playing with us. Isn't it telling when other countries are working with us well? Rumberg is just cutting more ties with us. The neglect of President Alfonso, the chaos of elections delayed our diplomatic efforts. Only two Rumberg diplomatic... Okay, so there are only two things left open. We are accustomed to usual rhetoric. I must display strength to my people. We cannot be pushed around. All this may be a calculated plan of action to push us to a corner and act irrationally. This is my fear. They might be looking for a casus belli, and we are slowly spiraling downward to find reasons to wage war. Yosef Lank was furious, barely kept from slamming the desk. There are worrying developments like the smuggled arms and the build-up near the border. Our military must be buffed up to stand up against a regional power like Rumberg. We either respond to this aggressive act with a diplomatic condemnation, or we retaliate by closing our consulate and dome. I want to say that an escalation would be risky this early on in our presidency. We should focus on creating a negative image in Rumberg in the international scene. The people of Sordland must be protected no matter what the cost. I say we respond equally. Write an official diplomatic response condemning this unreasonable act. Declare that Rumberg aims to destabilize Sordland in the region. Yeah. We'll give Yosef some money, so that'll be okay. Wish we reacted more strongly. Don't confront them. They will keep escalating the situation. I feel like they're going to escalate it regardless, but we'll do this anyway. I, on the other hand, am glad we are taking the more cautious road. Well, that's good. We should move on to the new trade initiative. Our primary goal will be to successfully sign a free trade agreement with one of our smaller neighbors. We have two options with our trade initiative: start of new negotiations with our old partner Agnolia and forming a new cooperation with Welland. Tell me about the trade deal with Agnolia. First off, the reason behind this option is more diplomatic than economic, though of course we can't forgo the added economic value. Agnolia is an old ally and a valuable trade partner. The point we are at with the early negotiations is around the steel trade. They are demanding that we buy their steel for a higher price. This is because they think the deal is too far as unbalanced as it is. Their second main demand is privileged access to our agricultural market. We fulfill their demands, and in return they are offering a full alliance with Sordland against Rumberg. Look at the current advance of Rumberg near our borders. Having a coalition against Rumberg would prove extremely useful. Obviously there will be consequences for entering a full alliance. Mainly the issue is around the Helgi Islands. Vagsland has clear intentions on taking over the island one way or another, and entering a military alliance with Agnolia will make them furious. I want to state my support for the decision to stick to our old ally Agnolia. Even though I disagree with their demand to relax immigration, we have cooperated with them on many issues in the past. There are obviously subjects that still need to... we would still need to tackle, like our economies, the trade of goods, and what to do with immigration. My opinion is that this is a good deal, we should go for it. The new Agnolian Prime Minister is trying to improve the existing relationship. The downside is we need to make concessions, a reality of any trade deal. I don't think we want to have any concessions, honestly. So I think Agnolia is a good option. Other point is that they have a very democratic system out there. The recent election of the PM has a mandate to reach a fair deal with us. Martin Van Horten is an avid supporter of relaxed immigration. Since we said we'll tighten immigration, he might be reluctant. Regardless, if we are going to increase our regional influence to previous levels, we might have to make amends with our neighbors. Ultimately, the decision will be up to you as always. Tell me about the trade deal with Welland. Yeah, you're fucking right about that, though, Lucian. I am absolutely in charge. Eggman for life. Okay, blah blah blah. Dealing with a fractured country like Welland has its positives and negatives. Although it will be lucrative in the short term, there are risks associated with dealing with such a country. They are proposing co-investment projects and a no-tariff agreement. They are also offering oil in return for attracting foreign capital interest from Sordland. However, it is possible that there will be international ramifications of getting closer with a country like Welland. All in all, it's a very lucrative deal for us. However, we need to think about the consequences. I certainly don't support the decision to become friendly with Welland. We carried their burdens for decades. Their migrants flooded our country, and now they are expecting a deal from us. Maintaining influence with Welland could prove useful. Yes, it is risky, but think about our influence in an undeveloped region like that. We could also sell more products and enter their market easily. I'm of the opinion it's simply too risky. Yes, we would gain resources and immediate capital, but I'm afraid of the consequences. think the return is too lucrative to pass on regardless of the risk. Migrant crisis is one of the reasons behind the destabilization of Sordland. I like to point out that it was due to Welland. If we wish to go forward with the deal when the time comes, the topic of immigration to consider. Victor Smolak is a known isolationist. Our promise to tighten our immigration border will increase the likelihood of the deal. He believes our borders need better security. I personally don't like the idea of getting too close to Welland. Me too. Agreed. I still think we should give it a try. Since we did not promise to align with neither East nor West, it's very likely that their concerns would be more around the deal itself. We also need to consider the effects of our economic doctrine plan. The fact we are headed towards a planned economy will have an influence. Good negotiators optimize the interest, which makes the differences become trivial, allowing both sides to reach a deal. Very true, Mr. Vector. We have a lot of time to prepare before the scheduled visit to Welland and Magnolia. I believe this gives a brief overview of our current options. Our trade delegation will begin work towards the end of the year. I expect a final negotiation and the signing to happen next year. Very much looking forward to visiting Stallport and Rockless with party animals like David and Simon. Haha. Good God. Peter laughed. Joseph narrated his eyes and stared at him. Well, that concludes our meeting, Mr. Rayne. Have a good day and enjoy Leshaven. I will take my leave then. Sir, the meeting concluded and the team dispersed. Our diplomatic action plan had officially begun. Okay, well, a lot has happened. These guys are probably upset about something. Yep. That's okay. No, he won't. He will listen to himself. Emergency in Anrica. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Right, what is... We won't do it right now, but what is our next decision? Briefing on the results from the Reform Committee. Oh, shit, right. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. So we will get on that some other time. All right, see you later. Happy fun time.